What's going on, guys? My name is Simple Stinkfish, and the main event of WrestleMania was not that bad. So a lot of you are complaining that WrestleMania was great, except for the main event, or WrestleMania sucked this year, this was the worst WrestleMania ever. I'm seeing all of these comments, and people are just like, either the WrestleMania sucked, or it was good except for the main event, Roman Reigns versus Triple H. You're all looking at it the wrong way. It was a fine match, and it told a good story. I'll get to that later, but let's start with the pre-show, and the very first match of the night was Kalisto versus Ryback for the United States Championship, and Kalisto retains via the exposed turnbuckle. And it wasn't even like Ryback had exposed it and then Kalisto sort of like accidentally used it. No, Kalisto exposed it, drop kicked Ryback into it, and then hit him with a Selena del Sol for the pin. So is Kalisto heel? I know he's supposed to be the underdog and he's supposed to get those sort of like cheap wins, but come on, that was a heel tactic. Regardless, it was a fine match, and I'm happy that Kalisto got the win and can keep his run going. He's a great United States champion. I just think the finish was a little iffy. I don't think this match lived up to the match they had in the Survivor Series Championship Tournament. Good nonetheless, though. The Total Divas beat Bad and Blonde. Now, this was expected. They're just promoting Total Divas. The match was really sloppy, though. I mean, it looked like there was no rehearsal. It looked like they were trying to sort of go on the spot because there were 10 of them. But with that in mind, everyone looked really bad, in my opinion. Except for Emma. Emma shined. Maybe I'm just biased because I love NXT. But she was the only one who looked like she knew what she was doing in the ring and could actually go and just be like a good in-ring performer. I did like Bree's method of setting up the yes lock. Thought that was really good and decent finish. I don't like them making Naomi tap out. I think that she should be pushed higher up in the Divas division, or now the women's division. I'll get to that later. But you also had Nikki Bella come out post-match with her neck brace on, ring gear, neck brace, everything, coming out celebrating with the Divas. Is she going to return? I don't think so. The stories I'm reading are saying that her injury might be career-ending. The Usos beat the Dudleys in sort of an underwhelming match. I would have liked to have seen the Dudleys get pushed just because Bubba Ray is like one of the better talkers in today's WWE. Maybe if they start calling up some more guys, I don't know. The talking problem is really like a huge thing in WWE. There's so much focus on the in-ring work, which is awesome. But Bubba Ray is one of the only guys who can really just sort of go and trash talk on the mic nowadays. But the Usos beat them. Nothing special from the Usos, just a huge super kick party. Put them through some tables, which they got their WrestleMania moment, but underwhelming match in my opinion. And for the first match on the card, we get the biggest WTF moment of the night. Zack Ryder wins the Intercontinental Championship. What the hell? Why? Since when? What is this set up for the next pay-per-view? Or does he just lose it tonight on Raw? I'm recording this tonight. Does he just lose it on Raw? Does he actually have a run with the title? I know they're probably just like giving him some credit for like being with the company forever and helping Mojo Rawley down in NXT. But really? Like, the match was so centered around Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Like, these two, if not for the title, they better keep going with this one-on-one storyline because that thing writes itself. But Zack Ryder wins the title. Ladder match was awesome. 7-man ladder match will always just sort of be an exciting spot fest. But Zack fucking Ryder, what the hell? I thought he was supposed to not even be on the card and he was just replacing Neville. Was Neville supposed to win the title? My mind is blown and I just don't understand what creative is doing behind the scenes to write, I have an idea, let's put the title on Zack Ryder. Then we move on to Jericho versus Styles. Now, I was expecting more from this match, honestly. Like, I was expecting this to be potential match of the night and just put on a quality match similar to Zayn versus Nakamura, where it's just like these are two guys who are great in the ring and can tell a great story. And I think they did tell a good story, but I don't know, I was just sort of underwhelmed by the match and it did not live up to my expectations, especially with the fact that Jericho won. This is just a testament to Vince hating the TNA guys. Like, it sucks for AJ Styles. I feel so bad for him because he could be so much bigger and should be so much bigger. He should be a top guy in the company, and now Jericho has a win and they're 2-2, and it's like, what do you do with Styles? Styles, does he continue with Jericho? I don't want to see them continue now. WrestleMania was supposed to be the climax of the rivalry. AJ should go on and feud with, I would say, someone like Kevin Owens, because Kevin Owens should continue his feud with Sami Zayn. But AJ deserves more, and he shouldn't just stick to Jericho. AJ can do so much more. He's now in the WWE. There's so many dream matches that he could have here. But he just lost to Jericho. Like, what? Jericho jobbed to Fandango 2 years ago, 3 years ago, whatever it was. Jobbed to Zack Ryder on Raw. Why is he beating AJ Styles? Anyways, no flying unicorns. Yeah, that sums up this match. League of Nations defeats New Day. New Day doesn't get their flying unicorn entrance. They come out of a giant cereal box of Bootios, which in itself is awesome and hilarious, and they come out with their Dragon Ball Z outfits and everything. Xavier's got his hair spiked up. This is just a 6-man tag team match. So in my last video I was talking about it as if it was for the tag titles. I corrected myself in saying that it wasn't for the tag titles, and that was a 4-on-3 match. No one knew. Everyone I was reading online anticipated a 4-on-3 match. But WWE always just said New Day versus League of Nations. They never said Kofi and Big E versus Sheamus and Rusev for the tag titles. They never said 3-on-3 with Barrett on the side. They never said 4-on-3 for the titles. 4-on-3 not for the titles. They never said non-title match. They never specified anything. Which is frustrating for me because, like, so many people could assume different things. But ultimately it was a 3-on-3 match. Barrett was on the outside, just sort of a screw you to Barrett because he's leaving the company in June when his contract expires. He doesn't get his WrestleMania moment, which is fair, I guess. I understand why they would do that, but it's also like Barrett could be doing so much more. But anyways, it was a 3-on-3 match. As good as a 3-on-3 match can be, it just felt like it could have happened on Raw and it wouldn't have been anything special. There's nothing special about this match. And the fact that the League of Nations won is just like, I know they're trying to push them and they had the extra man, but New Day is just so much better than that. And of course, after the match, Wade Barrett is on the microphone saying there's no 3 men in history that could stand toe-to-toe with the League of Nations. So out comes the legends, Shawn Michaels in his gear, Mick Foley in his gear, Steve Austin, which got a huge pop in Texas, not in his gear, he had his jeans on, but he did have his wrist tape. So I was like, wait, are we going to have an impromptu 3-on-3 match? No, they just came out. Austin whooped some ass. All the legends danced with New Day. Then Austin stunned Xavier and then shared some beers with the legends. And typical Austin fashion, they walk out to Austin's music. So going forward with the night, we sort of get these 3 legends out of the way. It was confirmed that these 3 were going to make an on-screen appearance, and one way or another, people were predicting interference in the main event or in the Hell in a Cell match or anything else. Nope, they just came out, beat up the tag teams, and that was it. That was their appearance. So no interference later tonight unless The Rock interferes in Roman Reigns' match. Which didn't happen, but that was just sort of the only possible option left. Brock Lesnar versus Dean Ambrose in a street fight was a very underwhelming street fight. Another match that I had high expectations for. I really was hoping that they would allow Lesnar, this guy's been with the company, not with, but he's been involved in the company in one way or another for, what, over a decade. Dean Ambrose, who just really fits into the street fight sort of genre. They really didn't give them that much leeway. Kendo sticks, chair shots, suplex, and that's it. No use of the chainsaw, no use of the barbed wire baseball bat. I was really hoping with these 2 guys, WWE trust them to use some blood. Because that just really, like, it puts more emphasis on this rivalry. I think Dean can recover from the loss, but it was a really emphatic win for Lesnar. But I think Dean will be able to come out tonight and just, like, do his thing and still be a top guy, just being like, Brock kicked my ass, but I'm still standing. But again, it was just a very underwhelming match in my opinion. The match was only 15 minutes too, which was, with these 2 guys, they easily could have gone 20-25 minutes, and I know it was a street fight. There's very little street involved in it, so I don't see why not give them the extra time, take the time away from anyone else. And I'm very salty about this match. I had higher expectations. And in a fine display of women's wrestling, Charlotte wins the new WWE Women's Championship, which, as the rumors had stated, looked exactly like the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, but a white strap and red behind the logo. It's a fine title. I think it could have looked better. I still prefer the WWF Women's title from, what was it, like 98 to like 2006 or whatever it was. I like that. I think that probably looked better than this one. But this is nice because it also sort of puts them on par with the male competitors in saying that, like, your title looks exactly the same as theirs, just sort of equals them out. But this was a fantastic match. I mean, there's not much to say about it, just other than that it was amazing. Charlotte, Sasha, and Becky are all great in-ring performers, and they had the chance to put that on display tonight, and they did. The match went smoothly, and I feel like there's always something negative that comes out of a triple threat match. They pulled it off pretty well. I mean, the only thing is that sometimes you'd have like a one-on-one situation with the other person on the outside, which is fine and tells a good story and allows for some good opportunities. You had a couple three-man spots, or three-woman spots, which were nice. And ultimately, Charlotte picked up the win, making Becky Lynch tap out to the figure 8 while Rick got involved holding Sasha back. So you know that Sasha's going to be salty and she's going to want that title. She wanted that to be her moment. They had me believing it would be her moment, with Snoop Dogg singing her entrance, or wrapping her down to the ring, and she coming out with the Eddie Guerrero tribute. I was like, oh shit, are they like actually going to give her this? Is this going to be her moment? I like the way it was executed though. I like how Charlotte retained the title, or won the new title, via Rick's interference. You could see that one coming. Sasha will have her moment, no doubt. That'll come at a later time. I'm hoping sooner rather than later. I heard Wrestle Talk TV, I think they said they wanted it to happen at SummerSlam. I think that's way too far down the road. Give it to her sooner. Bayley just lost her title at TakeOver. Let her come up, and then let Sasha versus Bayley happen at SummerSlam. That is what I would like to see. From one match of the night to the next, we have Undertaker versus Shane McMahon, and this match exceeded my expectations enormously. These two put on great work inside the ring. I don't think it was just a spot fest. Like, even when these two were duking it out inside the ring, I thought it was phenomenal. I did not think that these two at their age would be able to go that hard, but it was a great match. They went down there beating each other up, Shane kicking out of a choke slam, the submission holds inside the ring, just a whole bunch of action. Then you had the coast to coast, you had the cell wall breaking, and you had Shane maniacally jumping off the top of the cell with his kid's front row. That was nuts. I was jumping out of my seat. My roommates are trying to watch this Walking Dead season finale. I'm freaking out. I'm like, you guys gotta see this. You guys, he's climbing to the top of the cell. I was marking out hard. Like, you can see the picture here. Like, seeing that man jump, what is that, 20, 25, 30 feet off the cell? I've jumped out of a lighthouse, which is like 40, 45 feet tall. But jumping that far down to just hit solid ground, I mean, it was the announce table, and I'm sure there's a pad there or something, but that's still gonna hurt. That was not, it just, props to Shane, but ultimately, Undertaker won. But so where do we go from here? It's the same old with the Authority running Raw, except Triple H doesn't have the title. I'll get to that later. But it was just, it's like, what happens with Shane now? Where does he go? What does he do? Is he just done? He just comes in for a match with Taker and then he leaves, he's never to be seen from again? I feel like there's more for him. Like, why build up all of that hype, like around Shane could take control of Monday Night Raw and then have no payoff? Undertaker sort of gave him the pat on the face and showed him a sign of respect and mercifully ended the match. But where's the fucking payoff? Like, what about that ticket I showed you? Like, I showed you the evidence last week that was not photoshopped or anything. Like, you have Monday Night Raw versus the WWE. Like, what does that even mean? What's gonna happen in the next month? I'm mad that there was no payoff for that match. I thought it was like, with all that build up, Shane has to win. But now what? You're just gonna cop yourselves out and then Shane's gonna get power anyways sometime within the next month? Like, what happens? It angers me. But they've done a good job of drawing me in. I have to watch Raw, and I have to watch these next few weeks to see how this all unfolds. Having said all that, I do wish Shane the best. I hope he's okay. I know he gave the thumbs up after that fall and he seemed like he was there. But man, I hope he recovers, and I hope he's fine, and I hope he's doing well. Shane, I wish you the best. So then we get to the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, and we have surprise entrants DDP, Tatanka, Baron Corbin, and Shaq. Fucking Shaquille O'Neal. Like, what? They said on the commentary team that he tweeted out earlier he's going to be at Mania, which I guess if I had known that, it wouldn't have been spoiled for. I mean, yeah, it would not have been spoiled for me. But I see him come out, I'm like, what? Why? Where? How? What? Why is he even here? Only to get eliminated, like, what, third? Him and Big Show had a stare down, they choked each other out, and then they both get eliminated after eliminating a pair of each other. But ultimately it comes down to Kane and Baron Corbin, and I was like, this would be a good way to pay tribute to. I mean, either way, they couldn't lose here. I predicted Kane, so I was hoping Kane would win just so my prediction would be right. And I was hoping, like, all right, you could do this. You could have Kane win, give him the tribute of, like, all right, Kane, thank you for being with the company. Here's a trophy. Your name will be engraved on this forever. Or, and well, if you did that, you could have Baron Corbin sort of be solidified as this top guy. A good jump to the main roster. Coming second in the Battle Royal, he could jump to the main roster and just sort of use that as bragging rights. But instead, they allowed Baron Corbin to win, which pushes him. I like this. They're sort of using the Battle Royal to push younger talent, which I think is better than paying tribute to the older talent. They can do that in other ways, but this is a good way because now Baron Corbin can jump up onto Raw and he can just sort of have that bragging rights, and it sort of solidifies him as a top contender, as opposed to someone like Tyler Breeze or Neville, who just sort of come up and Neville gets in a rivalry with Kevin Owens, Tyler Breeze does nothing, Bo Dallas is in the social outcast. Baron Corbin has the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal trophy. So he's got some sort of bragging rights, some reason to sort of push him to that top spot. But enough about that match, I have a question for you. Can you smell what The Rock is cooking with his flamethrower? I deserve that. But Rock comes out with a flamethrower, hyping up Mania, announcing the record-breaking attendance, only to be interrupted by the Wyatt family, who have nothing else to do tonight. Luke Harper's not there because he's injured, Bray still has the injured back, so I'm not really expecting much. Rock rips them apart, completely buries them. Thank you, WWE, for crushing some great talent. I'm so done with the Wyatt family at this point. I've said that in like every video. Please, no one take the Wyatt family seriously anymore. Like, you just can't. If you want to like follow, like, you can say they're great in-ring performers. The Rock said that, but they've done nothing. And then Eric Rowan loses to The Rock in an impromptu 6-second record-breaking match because the fucking Rock. And then he gets surrounded by the Wyatt family, and out comes John Cena, fucking Superman, cyborg, unhuman, just defies all laws of human nature. What the hell? He recovers from an injury 3 months after he gets diagnosed with an injury that has a 9-month recovery time. Recovers, gets medically cleared 6 months sooner. What the hell is John Cena? Because he's certainly not human. But they both had just beat up the Wyatt family. Bray Wyatt takes a spine buster, which I guess is a good sign about his back because it was rumored to be injured. And Rock and Cena sort of have their moment and they get to walk off before the main event. Alright, now finally, to the main event, Roman Reigns versus Triple H for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Triple H always comes out with these weird-ass, elaborate, awesome entrances. I've got my roommates here, one of them just never watches wrestling whatsoever, and he's like, between the Undertaker's entrance and Triple H's entrance, this is like Phantom of the Opera to him, but it's awesome. Like, it's just all this elaborate, just craziness, and like, it's all theater, and it's just, but it's awesome to see. Like, it draws you in, it's compelling. But so he makes his entrance, Roman comes out. The thing I liked about this match was Roman never once appealed to the crowd. He had one focus in mind. He was focused on revenge, kicking Triple H's ass, and getting that title. He was zeroed in on Trips, and that was it. Blocked out the crowd, did not care about the boos, did not care about getting cheered. He appealed to the fans not once. He was not worried about fan approval or any of that. He was just a guy with a chip on his shoulder and aggressively went after what he wanted, which was the title. This is like an early sign of a heel turn. I don't know if he's going to turn heel tonight, but it would make sense because the boos were loud as all hell. And this match, what I liked about it was I was able to try to shift my mindset as I'm watching the match into a couple different scenarios. I was watching it, alright, how this storyline has been, with Triple H being the oppressive authority figure and Roman Reigns being the oppressed babyface worker. And it made sense. You know, you have Roman Reigns fighting it back against his oppressor and just sort of being really aggressive, trying to take his spot back, trying to take his title back. Triple H using everything at his disposal, fighting dirty and everything else to try to keep the power in his hands. Or I would shift my mindset. Roman's getting booed. Let's look at him like not so much a heel, but just sort of an aggressive, neutral, non-babyface, non-heel sort of character. And Triple H he sort of appealed to the crowd. You can look at Roman Reigns in a heel in this scenario, and look at Triple H, like the face version of the cerebral assassin, like he was, what was it, like 2006 to 2009? He's still a cerebral assassin, and he's still fighting dirty, but he's appealing to the crowd. The crowd is cheering him, and Triple H is, you know, his name gets announced, he holds his title up, he's smiling at the crowd and everything. Triple H was acting very much so like a babyface. And Roman Reigns, he was just zeroed in on Triple H. He was just a guy who wanted revenge and wanted his title back. And I think it told a great story as the match progressed. There's so many critics out there saying this main event sucked. I agree, the match should not have gone on last. It was very underwhelming for a final match on the card. But it told a good story, the in-ring action was solid. Roman might not be the most technical guy, but neither is Cena. Neither, even The Rock isn't that very technical. And I know those two are loaded with charisma. But what Roman is good at is on the microphone just being very brief, very intense, very brooding, and just looking to kick some ass. And that's what he did. That's what he's done lately. He's just been intense on the microphone, just really angry. He's got a chip on his shoulder. He's really aggressive. And that story was told in the ring. You had Triple H just trying to keep his title, just trying to keep Roman Reigns down. You had Roman Reigns just wanting revenge and just wanting to kick Triple H's ass. I think people are being way too critical of this match. I think that story was told beautifully. And this was a decent WrestleMania. Like, there were some really good wrestling matches on the card. Nothing was poor. I said in my last video, this would be the WrestleMania that people remember as the one that sucked because of injuries. I don't think so. This WrestleMania was just fine on its own. I mean, like I said, the Roman Reigns Triple H match was fine. Shane vs. Undertaker was a match that exceeded my expectations and had the huge spot. Dean vs. Brock Lesnar was a fine match. Underwhelming, but fine. Chris Jericho vs. AJ Styles was a great match. Underwhelming in my opinion, but still a good match nonetheless. The women's match was amazing. This whole card was just very well written. I think this was a good WrestleMania. WWE pulled it off, and they did a good job. And I have nothing really bad to say about this WrestleMania other than a couple matches were underwhelming, but that's because I personally hyped them up too much. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. I know there's going to be a lot of people hating on the main event. Maybe my opinion skews yours. Maybe you see it the way I see it for just a decent match. And hopefully we get a Roman Reigns heel turn tonight. If you like this content, click the subscribe button for more. Leave a thumbs up. I will see you guys in the next video.